Okay, so let's try again. um, Interesting. Maybe I should change the title to "What contribution can my ancestors be to me in this live broadcast?" Uh, so this video, I am going to be talking about ancestral alchemy. I will. Um, Interesting. Sabotaging myself with this video. Uh, it, so ancestral alchemy, what is it? What is it? I'm sure many of you out there do a lot of like that ancestral healing. It doesn't necessarily have to be about traumatic stuff. So I decided to call it ancestral alchemy because it's also drawing on the amazingness that our ancestors have brought into this earthly realm. What there are some subconscious patterns as well as conscious patterns that are running in our system and our family system. Some are helpful, some are not. And that ancestral alchemy is being able to be more conscious with those patterns, those values, those things that have been handed down, and then to have choice, being more conscious with the choicing, and not feeling like then you're going against your family system, or feeling like you're neglecting your family system. It's about being able to be more conscious with those choices and create greater in your current life and living, and not feeling like you're dishonoring them. It's not about kind of avoiding them or dishonoring. And yes, there's a lot of healing that can take place in terms of the trauma that have happened in our ancestral lines, but we don't need to repeat those unconscious, unhealthy patterns. What if we can draw on the healthy things that are coming through down our line? So there's different ways we can peer into that, and I'm just going to show you one way, which is the online method, and it's being able to allow the blind spots and the subconscious patterns to reveal themselves and to be acknowledged and be seen. We can't change what we cannot see. And the cue or the clue is when we find ourselves saying, why is this happening to me? I've dealt with this before. How come I keep attracting the same type of people? I'm always blah, 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 whatever that is. Or you may find other people talking, giving you feedback saying, you're just like your mother, or, oh, your grandfather used to do that back in the day. You're just like, and then it's ... and you go, I never realized that about myself. Wasn't aware of that. And there may be themes, it may not be as obvious as that, maybe just kind of just everyday life stuff. It's like, how come I'm always running out of money? Or there's just things that you can't seem to kind of, you've tried like a gazillion tools and nothing's quite shifting. And again, it's that you can't shift what you can't see, and you can only shift what's a truth. So for me, there's a clue in that. It's like we can only, when we become more conscious and present with that pattern, shall we say, or whatever that thing is, that choice, until we can become present with that, we cannot shift it in our reality, in our life and living. So, for example, I'm going to show you. So once we're just looking at ways, what I like doing with all these different tools I have, with the voice, with the sound, with these different tools, is just a way of allowing space for the subconscious to be more conscious. And one way of doing that is by representation. And this work is based on the systemic constellation work, or those that know it may be more familiar with the term family constellation. And I'm just trying to find, let's see. And I'm going to give you a demonstration on screen of what I mean by that, and how powerful, how simple and powerful it is with facilitation, with the correct tools, information, and space and the environment. We can delve into quite a lot into the unconscious or the subconscious. So we have here, I'm just using a simple PowerPoint tool where it has, we have different shapes here. I've created different shapes and just a blank space with directions. And the idea is that we're kind of looking top down into a situation. And it'll become clear as I do an example of us peering into a particular system. So the client will often come with an issue and we talk through that. There's a pre-interview chat, and I use these shapes. You can use shapes, people, paper, whatever, just to represent, and it's to objectify the issue at hand. That's how I see it. It's like, rather than internally stewing over the same problem, we can place it out on what's called this knowing field, or this this board we have here to represent. So we can table things. Let's just table it. It's funny, with all these different terms we have in business meetings. It's like, let's just table this. So this is what we're doing. We're just tabling. And so I'll often ask the client to just pick a representation for themselves. And that's just these icons, and we have extra shapes here that we can use. So an example is like, if a person comes to me, it's like, I don't know what's blocking me. Like, I'll use voice example. Like, what's blocking the person? They're saying, I really want to speak up at work, but it's just not happening. I can't, I'm doing all these things, but I just freeze. I just seem to freeze when I'm in a meeting, and that's what happens. So we talk a bit more, and then basically I'm kind of rattling through this example, which is the session can be a lot longer. I'll get them to pick a representation for themselves. For example, they go, yep, I feel like I'm the orange icon. Again, we're looking top down. It's like, are you bigger or smaller? And they're like, oh, I'm about this size. I'm smaller. And I'm looking over there. And in this example, I might choose like, I'm asked them to, for example, pick their voice. In this case, it's not always that. Sometimes I'm guided to pick something else. It may be the situation and maybe another person. But in this case, we are going to pick a mouth, and it's going to be red. And what's the size of it? And in this case, the client will go, oh my gosh, the mouth is this big. This is my voice. My voice is this big. And okay, where is it on the field? Oh, it's right down here. It's right down here, is what they're saying. So already we're getting some insight. Are they, and so this person is still facing that direction, and the voice is over here. And then we're going to add another thing called a blind spot, like what's getting away of between the client and their voice. And so I'll ask them to pick another object, and they might go, oh, actually, yeah, this one and this one and this. Oh no, what color? No, they'll go, actually, no, it's blue. Or they go, oh, actually, no, it's quite changing quite a lot. And so they'll, which size? They say, oh, about this, it's this big. And where does it want to be? It wants to be here. So already we're seeing quite a visual picture of that. What's in the way. So what it's got to do with ancestors. Well, more often than not, these patterns and things are handed down. So the session kind of evolves into basically peering in into each object, and each object has something to report. And there's shifts that can be made, and there are patterns that are maybe handed down. There are subconscious patterns that it's like, for example, we don't talk about it. Don't talk about it is the pattern that's been handed down from an ancestor. It's just taboo. You're not allowed to talk about it. Don't speak up. All these types of things. And so more often than not, then a ancestor may appear on the field or not, or they may be hidden. And then basically there's some healing sentences that can take place that allows those blind spots or those blocks to be shifted or to be acknowledged. But the idea is that those that have not been seen, or things that have not been spoken about, So again, it's going back to that subconscious, hidden, secret, whatever's not been seen before in our family systems or in our society, in our conscious awareness. They can be tabled, they can be objectified, and then they can be seen. Some movements can take place. Again, it's coming back to like the client has the more has the information now to go, oh wow, I didn't realize I was carrying this pattern from my ancestors. And it's like, well, it's such a big deal, but this is not my deal to carry. It's like, this wasn't even mine. It's like, that's just not mine to carry. And it's like, thank you very much, ancestors. This one's not very helpful. This is actually yours. And then the ancestors can go, well, actually, it was something that we've carried for eons. And actually does, it has its place, it served its purpose, but it's no longer relevant for the client now in this life. It's like, well, now I'm free to move. This pattern doesn't belong to me. I'm moving very quickly here, by the way. These aren't the actual movements. But you get the idea is that the client is then free to move and the voice is allowed to come closer. And then movements can be made about the integration of this. It's like, I feel bigger now, I feel more braver. So there's a lot of that can be said around just the simplicity of this. And this is just one way of representing what can show up in the unconscious. And like I said, there's some things that can be helpful that are not just unhelpful patterns, subconscious patterns, but maybe there are some gifts that our ancestors have. So another example, there's a young lady who have her spiritual, I guess in her words, her spiritual gifts switch on, but she said she was quite afraid of this spiritual aspect of herself and was afraid of the unknown. Like, it's like these talk of like discarnate beings and think she could start seeing things, but she didn't want to see them. So this is kind of like, oh, she doesn't know how to handle it, so therefore she shuts down. Like, how can she have her issue? It's like, how can I have more ease with all of this, with my awareness? How can I have more ease with my awareness? So I put her. She picked herself, and then she also picked an object for. Let's see. The unknown. Hang on. So she picked an object for the kind of unknown, if you like. That was a key word that came out. But also in this sense that we picked a resource for her. Like, what resource can be helpful for you? That's available in your ancestral line that can support you in this process. So that's great. So she picked, she picked another object that represents something that would be more supportive for her. In fact, let's change that to an aqua blue. And that was kind of basically behind her. So she didn't feel so afraid of this unknown entity. And she felt more supported by whatever this resource is, which she can draw on from her ancestors. And it turned out that it's an actual gift, a gift of seeing, a gift of being okay with her awareness. Because there was someone in her ancestral line that was a seer, that was a psychic, that was that kind of person, and they'd embodied that quite well. And so once we put that resource there, in terms of they were seen on the field and acknowledged as part of the system that was a contribution to her life and living. They were able to be supportive of her and not be sort of not in the way, but they're kind of supporting her. They're not pushing her or guiding her, but she managed to tap into a resource that was actually helpful for her. So she felt a kind of palpable difference, noticeable difference, a somatic, felt sense in her body that she had this extra support, and the edge, that kind of fear energy change to excitement. So that shifted for her. And that's, again, just simply tapping into what's in the ancestral line, and also drawing on what's helpful and what's not. But also being in true choice of that. Sometimes it's like just placing them on this board by tabling it. It's just been seen. And from there, the client can make conscious decisions. It's like, oh, okay. No, I like, they might choose to go, I choose to be like my mum, because it's really helpful for me. It's not like I'm not going to be like my mom. It's the attributes and the skills and capacities that our ancestors have, we can choose from, and more. Like if the family system is asking for a different way of being and functioning in the world, it's like, what if you come into this, like, what if you've come into that family system line to make and help make those changes, and invite the ancestors to be okay with letting go of their fixed points of views and stories and ways of being, to go, hey, we can do this another way. And it frees not only you from the bonds of the kind of like burdens that may have been carried down, but free you to say, hey, that was great. I honor what you have been through, and it's not to dismiss that. We know that you have lived through much pain and hardship and all these other things, but it's also saying, but there also is another way that you can function in your life and living that is honoring of them, but also invites a different way of being. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of ancestral alchemy, in terms of what's possible. Those are very two quick snapshots of peering into what's possible with this format. In person, we can have people representing these things. So I'm going to be putting an event, like an intro event, just so you can experience this for yourself. And I'll do like a live demo with that person to work through a particular theme. And the beauty is that those that are witnesses or just observing and peering in, more often than not, there'll be a common theme that is running through for people. And then again, it's that whole inviting people to peer into their subconscious patterns and to go, oh wow, look, I have got this pattern running in the background. And then it's more of a conscious choice to go, is this pattern helpful or unhelpful in my life and living now? So thanks for watching this video, which I've tried, I think it was like for the 4th time attempting. So how much more ease can I have with this technology? And the tumultuous energies that are being experienced around the globe. And what if this ancestral alchemy is the thing to unlock you from the burdens from other people, and what if this is a gateway for people to be free from their stories, the stories that are limiting stories. Gosh. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the intro. All right, thank you. Bye.